Welcome back everyone to FTD News in History. And now these are my favorite type of videos to do here on FTD News. Why? Because I love history. It's always been my favorite subject in school. And I love finding stuff out, especially the bizarre and weird things that happened in the past and sharing it with you guys. And you guys love learning. That's why you're here. So it's a win-win situation. And in this episode, we're touching on a man by the name of Carlos Rodriguez, aka Halfy. He's also dubbed the man with half a head. I always wonder why do they call him the man with half a head? Like that means like half of his face would be missing, but I guess most people refer to just the top of your head as being your head. But anyways, let's get into this one. But before we continue, just want to ask you guys for your question of the day. What is the worst injury that you've ever had? I want to know down there. Now, I'm sure we all know that human beings are capable of surviving the impossible, from falling from 25 feet, missing body parts and limbs and all that, but still going strong. But when it comes to the brain, it may seem very impossible that you could actually have some of your brain completely missing, yet still live a normal life. Well, this man, Carlos Rodriguez, his injury, you just can't help but notice it. He became famous in 2010 after he was arrested in Miami for allegedly soliciting prostitution, and his mugshot was released in a section of the Miami News Times called Mugshots Friday, showing his missing forehead and sunken skull. He released a YouTube video talking about how he got into the accident, and he warned others to stay away from drugs. He lost a huge portion of his brain in a car crash after flying through the windshield of a car that he was driving, and he landed head first on the road. Also, regarding the accident, Carlos says this: "I was on drugs, I was driving, I hit a pole, and I flew out from the window and landed on my head. That's why it's no good drinking and driving or drugness and driving. No good, kids, no good." He says that he and his cousin and friends stole a car and they were just going way too fast. Now, although in his video he's very strong against doing drugs, he does admit though that he still takes drugs from time to time. So I guess old habits die hard, and if you're being an advocate for no drugs, you gotta practice what you preach. Now, Carlos Rodriguez isn't the only person that survived having a fatal blow to the head in which parts of their brains were removed. There was also Ben Maycock, a British teen at the time. He was lucky to be alive after being attacked with a hammer in 2010. Ben was left minutes from death after an unprovoked attack, and he was left in a coma for 3 weeks. Now, after doctors removed chunks of his head, they were like, no, this guy is not gonna survive at all. But he did survive. Initially, he was left paralyzed, but he did develop the ability to walk again after receiving Botox injections. There was also Steve Gator, who was 26 years old at the time. This man was attacked and beaten while walking home from work. He, however, was very unlucky in his case because to this day, he suffers from seizures and memory loss that leave him unable to work. 2 teenagers were initially charged with causing him grievously bodily harm, but the prosecutors later dropped the case. They said that there was conflicting statements from eyewitnesses that implied that both the teenagers may have attacked him in self-defense. And a third man by the name of Alex Hind, he was 28 at the time. He fell 25 feet while he was working on a roof, and because of that accident, he suffered extensive skull fractures, a broken jaw, and a severed optic nerve that left him blind in one eye and also left him with permanent brain damage. Now, he does suffer from memory loss, but he does have flashbacks from time to time. So we see it is possible. In some cases, yes, of course, is a lot more severe than others, but for the most part, people can live very regular lives with not having all of their brain there. But how does that actually work? Well, thanks to neuroplasticity, it is possible. It's a big word, so I'm gonna do my best to break it down for you. Think of it as your brain's way of adapting to what you actually need. So for instance, certain regions of the brain may be involved in reasoning. That portion leaves and is damaged. Another part of the brain that had no involvement with reasoning develops that ability for you. It gets very complex and scientific, so I did my best to just say that in layman's terms. Obviously, there's a lot more to it. But yeah, not doing drugs. It's a cliche that we've been hearing before history even started, right? But might as well take care of your brain, give it some TLC TLC, some love and affection, man. You only got one brain. Now, before I go, just have to say that although the brain can do this, it doesn't mean you should go out there and do stupid things. I'm just saying. And that wraps up this episode of FTD News in History. Thank you guys so much for joining me. You've been awesome. And stay smart. Wear helmets when you go out and riding your bike. Thank you guys once again for watching this. Now, if you made it this far in the video, you probably enjoyed it. So if you want another dose of people known for their unique body parts, you definitely have to check out this episode of Sarah Bartman. This woman was paraded around as a freak show for having an enormously large booty. I recommend this especially for anyone interested in Black history and stories involving human rights. I do warn you, however, that this one is pretty heartbreaking. Or for all you Netflix lovers out there, did you know that one of the most popular shows on Netflix, Orange is the New Black, is actually based on a true story? Find out what is real and what's not real in the show by tuning into this true story of Orange is the New Black. Be sure to subscribe here to be notified of future videos, and I will see you very soon.